Greetings, everyone. Welcome to my sketchbook. It is fairly early Monday morning. I mean, it started to snow yesterday afternoon. Not so bad in the great scheme of things. Uh, Still snow out there right now. I don't know if I'm going to do any shoveling or not. Maybe I'll just drive over it. Uh, you may have heard me talking about this pen. Well, I did some cleaning with it just so that the buildup of ink on the inside didn't happen. And yeah, just going to do some doodling. For some reason, it popped into my head that I haven't drawn a mermaid in a while. I think I drew a mermaid for someone quite some time ago. It was probably when it was popular, the Disney thing. So anyway, I'm going to see what I can do with this. But let's see. Let's zoom in this much, maybe. Okay. Now I'm going to get kind of like the rough shape of what I want before I get into the detailed stuff. I'm trying to think of what this mermaid needs to be doing. And that could be finding cool stuff. Could be, yeah, I don't know. I don't know yet. So I have to figure out where, the arms are going, what kind of cool little outfit. Yeah. The oceans are strange to me. There's wondrous things in the ocean. But I also have a great deal of respect for it too, so. I didn't plan on anything in particular with this, so I'm just kind of making this up as I go, but I gotta keep dipping the pen here though. Freshly cleaned pen, and all I'm doing is really getting the tip of that. I wonder if the fingers would have webbing in between, if such a creature is a real thing. And what kind of strength would they have if they lived in the ocean? How much junk do you think they would pick up? And how disappointed would they be with, the surface dwellers? I wonder about those kinds of things. Now we'll figure out what goes in the hand hereafter. How much flexibility do we have in the lower half? What if we gave a great deal of flexibility? Interesting. So no need for bending at the knees. So let's say kind of splits there. And it'd be fairly even. So I think that gives us the rough shape of what we want before the detail goes in. Do we want those really big eyes? We can tone this down, of course. Shorten the chin a little bit. I don't know if you'd need ears so much underwater, so that would probably be unnecessary. They seem to be able to talk and sing. So in what ways are they kind of mammal-like, I wonder? Or amphibian? You know, do they have the ability to breathe underwater and on the surface as well? I don't know. What kind of cool hair would we have? Would it be modern? Could we do a bob? Could we do some sort of, I don't know. As far as a top, though, we'll do something that kind of keeps some version of modesty, of course. Like we found something really cool. So we're going to have a t-shirt. You know, because that's what people on the surface wore. Well, this is unnecessary, don't you think? Little dots at the shoulders. I remember a story where it might have been National Geographic, and they thought they did. They found a group of people who wouldn't have had contact with outside individuals. And so when they met this group of people, it was all like, you know, it was a surprise to everybody in that tribe to see these outsiders. And then along came one of the kids, and they were wearing a t-shirt. I believe it said Coca-Cola on it. It's like, where did you get this? And, you know, it was like a sky bird flew overhead and dropped a care parcel or something like that. And on the inside, I think they had some clothing or something too. Some well-meaning people had already made contact with them. So that was kind of a strange thing, I think. It's a weird and wonderful thing what missionaries do. You know, you want to share peace and love, and maybe if there's medicine or certain advancements that can come along too. And sometimes you don't really benefit the people that much initially. Yeah, it's a strange thing. Now, I'm going to do something here. So some of the figure here I'm going to kind of eliminate with a brush and some water. I'm going to let this kind of blend blur. So I'm going to get rid of that line a little bit. I'm going to set this other pen down for a moment. Put a bigger droplet of water on this. And I'll dab it away. Not the greatest eraser, by the way. And we'll dab it away. don't think I need to do it there, but I'll do one here, and I'll let it dry a little bit. Okay. Now I don't know what sort of item this mermaid could have found. I still don't know. But let's add some fun, quick detail to this fin here, to the tail. And the oceans are filled with wondrous things. I'm just going to make a bunch of W's, basically, or U's for scales. You know what? I don't have to do that right away. Let's take the cap off of this. I'm just going to make a series of shapes, zigzag them back and forth. What if I'm going to go with longer hair? And what if? The symbol of Woodstock comes to mind, and I don't know it perfectly. I believe there's a bird on it. And we can kind of put in some scratchies around it, which can turn into tie-dye. I don't know if that's still a thing or not. Right up here we can say wood. Down here, stock. Now what if our friend here had extraordinary strength? It's funny, initially I thought I was going to draw an anchor. But I think I'm going to change this. Okay. Now we'll just kind of add some of that final bits of detail, I think, because This doodle doesn't need to go too extreme. Hmm. Sometimes I don't give myself enough room inside here, but I do like to draw tiny details every so often. Depending on the pen, you can get away with. Ooh, that eye looks a little strange. May have to try to balance some of this stuff out. Now, some of the fin. Here on the tail. This isn't exactly how I was picturing stuff in my head because I didn't really have a plan. I just kind of went, well, I feel like drawing a mermaid. That eye is something else. Okay. Well, pretty much done with that. Maybe tomorrow, after thinking about this for a bit of the day, I might come up with something a little bit different. Because I like the idea of the mermaid, but I just don't know if this is working out the way I want it to. I've heard people telling stories about seeing creatures. And if you've been around people who work the sea and the oceans, you're bound to hear a story or two like that. You know, you're out there for a few days. Sometimes you'd spend a lot of time out there if you're deep sea fishing. I don't know if there's a madness of the sea that can sneak in on some of these folks. But the water holds a lot of secrets. The stuff that they find, the stuff they might see, Right now is the time that I'm adding a bit more detail to this, just for the fun of it. I could just leave that alone. And then think about what I want to have if I draw another mermaid tomorrow morning. I think I'll do that. Just let this marinate. All right. Well, it's a mermaid with a found t-shirt and a hook up here. Now, I don't know if we'd be happy to find this thing if we know what it was used for. A friend finder or something like that. Well, I think that's it, folks. I can't think of anything I want to add to that because this picture is strange to me now. I could spend 3 or 4 hours creating some other things. There could be starfish and whatnot, but just an idea. I hope you have a great day, and hopefully we see you again soon. All right. Ciao for now.